Where do we fall when we fall in love? For several years I've been listening to the voices of both men and women, grappling to understand what is happening to them when they find themselves in a deep, loving relationship, a passionate attraction. In the peak of this experience, we can feel a heightened state of awareness, mesmerized by the feelings we are having in relation to the beloved one. More integrated and alive with a passion to create, an ecstatic euphoric state of being in love, fluttering towards the loved one like a moth drawn to light. It can be experienced as childlike, naive, playful, ageless, devoted, sacred, seductive, enraptured, honest, unrestrained, thoughtless, and expressive. A kaleidoscope of colours, reflecting a mirage of splendour as we fall deeper and closer to this person who appears to hold the key to our heart and soul. That in itself is a miracle. Being in love can often render us totally vulnerable at the hands of another person who has ignited this spark of love that has a familiar, mysterious quality most like ourselves, often spoke about as if this other person is our soulmate in the mirror of love, rather like Wuthering Heights when Catherine Earnshaw utters, "Why, Heathcliff, you are me and I you." This very narrative lays at the bedrock of my work, as many lovers merge and become lost in the beloved, losing all sense of their own autonomy and individuality. And here lies the pivotal problem in merger relationships that can lead to codependency, love addiction, and hungry love. When we are too hungry for love, we find it difficult to bear any sense of distance and separateness, intolerable to let our loved one go even for a moment for fear of losing them forever and ever. And if that love is withdrawn, we literally feel as if we are falling apart, drenched with the most annihilating sense of emptiness and grief, as if we no longer exist, no longer ourselves in the mirror, a shattered empty shell whereby every day life fades into broken fragments flagging behind time, unable to make any sense of the wreckage. Within the loving relationship, there is bound to be a becoming one, an attachment to the very person who makes us feel so alive in the beginning, rather like coming home to ourselves. But when attachment folds into hungry love, it can lead towards an inability to be alone, self-regulated and self-sufficient, therefore only able to exist in the reflection to the other's image, losing all identity of one's own sense of self. Circling in a state of light-headed confusion, as if we no longer know where our loved other begins and we end, bringing with it a high level of excitement and happiness, yet can easily be coloured by an anxious thought in the pit of our belly. Please don't let this end. And already, without knowing, we have fallen so deeply into the physical state of falling in love. When it's going well, it is a mystery, on fire with passion, and capable of achieving anything and everything. Inspiration and aspiration drives us towards making everything possible in the here and now, saturated with enthusiasm to live and produce, the elation of feeling awakened by some strange imperceptible quality. Things that once appeared like a mountain, an effort, a struggle, miraculously dissipate, and procrastination postponed in time. When we fall into this other realm, this heightened experienced state of love, literally anything and everything is possible to create. We yield and finally no longer are alone, as one becomes two, and suddenly life has a meaning and purpose like never before. With this consuming sense of falling, we feel fully alive and awake, so sharply awake, attentive. Something so profound yet intangible happens, so much so that reality in its so-called ordinary state becomes acutely sharp, with colourful bursts of insight and excitement evoked by a loved one's presence. It has been described as a heightened sense of reality, whereby the scent, the smell, and the touch of the beloved is of such a high intensity that it literally encompasses a divine quality, carrying with it a sense of oneness and respectful attraction. It's happened already. We have no say in it. This quality has a voice all of its own, and is literally experienced as if we are falling into some strange otherworldly landscape, not even knowing if arms and hands will catch us when we fall, frightened to let go. Will they be there if I do? Question after question rolls around in our mind. All conversation falls betwixt and between a six-sided crystal. Shall I? Shan't I? Yes, I want to trust. I want to let go. But then suddenly, from nowhere, that sense that we will be consumed by grief, and then abandoned, that most primal of all fears. It's better, so much better. Trust. Trust, love, and let go. Trust, trust, breathe and exhale. That thing that can't let go, won't let go for fear that we are lost forever and ever and ever. Abandoned into the space of time. Inhale, exhale, love partly throttled by life, corroding, burying itself, its dregs, into a mercurial stillness, juggling, jiggling, an almighty pleasure. Bury yourself into the bellowing music of life, to face the moon, lunar moon, the light, and her sweetness. And now, after that comes, what was it? A semi-trance-like state? That intoxicating feeling of love? I've awoken, and suddenly we are hurting one another. We say things we don't mean, although we mean them at the time. We swallow pregnant silences and brush by one another as if we were strangers, soaked to the skin in sadness. How did we come to this? From where? How did this discourse happen? When did it begin and why? There are so many questions in suspense regarding the love relationship, but there's no denying something keeps us together. Attached, familiar, as if we were meant to meet, and there it begins. Understanding one another is the key, as love can be damaged through time. To know that person is an incomparable blessing, and to be understood a fundamental necessity that lies at the bedrock within every loving relationship. Love, that most mysterious thing that I'll never, ever forget. I'll never get to the bottom of. Its residue will stay with me forever and ever and ever, as broken fragments of time spilling out wherever they can, wherever they can. It just brushes by me now. Where do we fall when we fall in love?